My name is Harry Joel and I'm 83 years of age.
My name is Gwen Scull and I am 73.
My full name is Frank Knight.
And how old are you?
I'll be 81 in 3 months' time.
My name is Jerry. My age is 86.
My name is William Fitzgerald. I'm 83 years of age. May, how old are you now?
103.
And you, have you always lived in Paddington all your life?
Yes. When the war was on, I moved from house to house, but locally. Never moved right away.
Well, I was born in Soho. My father at the time was the youngest man ever to have a licence, victualler's licence, at 21 years of age. And I was born in a public house called The Crown in Broadwick Street.
Actually, it started off life in Delamere Terrace, which is about a couple of yards away from Little Venice. That's in Paddington. And I'm still living around there in the same area after 83 years.
I was born in Cleveland Street in London, and
It was just part of our life, the river, because it was so near. We lived in a place called Lindsay Street, which was near St James's Park in Bermondsey, and you could walk from there to Tower Bridge and to the Tower of London. So that was all part of our surroundings. I can even remember going to play on the sands outside the Tower of London. That was our seaside. Couldn't afford to go to the seaside.
When I was growing up, I was always down by the Thames. I loved the Thames. I loved the water. Always have done. And on top of that, before I went into the service, into the Navy, I was a dispatch rider for the fire service. So I saw plenty of water, and I saw, living in the East End of London on that side of it, I saw plenty of water when the docks were alight in East London and that sort of thing. When the City of London was on fire, they drew a lot of water out of the Thames, naturally, because they were right the side of it, you see. I drove the bike along, you could see them, you know, putting the hoses, the big main hoses into the river to draw the water off to fight the fires.
My father used to say he came from the other side of the river all the time. My mother came from Marylebone, so they were two sort of separate parts of London with the river in between. He used to walk, actually, as a young man, from Bermondsey all the way across the river to Marylebone, where my mother lived, because they couldn't afford fares, but that's what he used to do before they were married.
My job after I came out of the Navy, I became a London licensed taxi driver. I drove a London cab till my retirement for 55 years. It was a great experience because one minute you could be picking up a Cockney man with his wife celebrating their wedding anniversary, and the next job you picked up could be a lord going to the House of Lords. At the House of Commons, on the pillar, the entrance in Parliament Square, which is the side of the Thames, there's a light goes on when they need an empty taxi. And when the light goes on, the policeman just lets you go in. Of course, you never know who you're going to pick up from, whether it be a Labour, Conservative, a Liberal, Democrat. They just come out and get in the cab and you take them wherever they want to go. There was the film stars and the big artists that were in London always stopped at the Savoy Hotel. And the Savoy Hotel is the side of the River Thames. And, you know, you're always getting called in. I mean, one occasion I went in there, I picked up Frank Sinatra with Ava Gardner. I picked up Ava Gardner another time with George Raft.
There's 12 bridges in London, and I've walked each one. Just to walk on it and get the history of each bridge. It goes from Battersea Park down to Tower Bridge. In between that, you've got Albert Bridge, Vauxhall Bridge, Chelsea, Lambeth, Westminster, Waterloo, Southwark, London Bridge and Tower Bridge.
You had the tours all the way around. I mean, they used to love to go across Tower Bridge because they knew Tower Bridge went up, and I think I can honestly say that hundreds and hundreds of times. I've been over every bridge in London that goes across the Thames. I think the favourite bridge is Tower Bridge. I can remember the time when Tower Bridge started to go up just as a bus was going over it, and just as it was parting like that, he jumped from one side to the other, got to the other side with a big London bus, red bus. Well, I thought, boy, I thought the driver, you know, he must have had so much pluck and thinking of his conductor and his passengers that, well, I've got to carry on, otherwise the bus is going to turn over. So away he went, and he did the trick. It was really marvellous. Afterwards, when, you know, my father and I found out that the guy used to come in and use the pub and he lived in the buildings opposite, that he was the driver of the bus, because he was a transport driver.
We used to go on the boats a lot. My father used to take us and used to go up on the boats. We used to go to Hampton Court and places like that, and I took my own children on the boats up there.
I mean, I can remember the time when I was a youngster, you know, there used to be a paddle steamer that went from under Tower Bridge.
We used to go on the paddle ships down to Windsor.
I remember being at school once, and it was a great honour to have an outing. We went on to Southend, and we went on this riverboat from the Thames, and that was a great outing going down there. That was your holiday.
In my school, no one ever went on the boat, because every weekend was taken up. You went to church in the morning, you went to Sunday school in the afternoon, and you went to church in the evening. So you had no time to go on boats. But when I was older, I went with a family and the young babies. It was a day's outing. Every time they had a birthday, they went along the river in the boat. It was very nice on the boat.
Oh, well, on board, you know, you could get a meal, you could get a snack.
Singing, eating, and everybody enjoying themselves. Because it was a different world in those days. We were all sort of Londoners.
Went up in the wheel. Now that is drawing the...
You enjoy that, did you?
They're drawing hundreds there. Yeah. It was packed. It was packed when I got there. The wheel, a lot of people going.
You had a good
queues all up the road, waiting to get on.
I loved it going down the Thames, visiting the Thames, going to the South Bank, because they have all the marvellous entertainment goes on there. I mean, even in the Festival Hall or the Queen Elizabeth Halls, they have group singers, watching the dancing that goes on there in the ballroom. There's quite a variety of entertainment that goes on there. There's always something going on there on the River Thames. That's why I like it so much.
At least once a week when the weather's nice, I go to my usual spots down near Festival Hall. I've got my special bench there, and I sit there and have a read and watch the boats go up and down, and it's very nice. You seem to be in another world. You know, you get all the tourists there, and sometimes they talk to you and you have a good chat, where they come from. They ask you where you come from.
You feel good to go along the Thames because there's so much history there, you know, and you're part of that. And your, you know, previous relatives have also travelled along it at some stage or the other, and so it's history for us all Londoners. It's just part of our being.
And I've really always loved it, and I still love it. I still get there as often as I can.
I can only say that there's something about it when you're a Londoner that you can't stay away from it. You have to be drawn to it. And with all the different things that there are along the Thames now, it's a fascinating thing. Fascinating, really. It's really part of London, and it will always be part of London.